Today's video, we're going to show you how to install some floating wooden shelves on finished tile. How hot is that? So today in the building world, there's a craze going on with using big slab lumber. This is a 2 1/4, and you can go to the building stores and you'll see there's a display where they've got this thick lumber and they've got some live edge on it and they're selling table legs. And the idea is you can glue and screw these things together to make a great big table with a nice live edge all the way around. And they come pre-drilled with some pocket screws. Can you see those okay, Max? Fabulous. Now, I had a crazy idea. I wanted to mount some floating shelves on this wall, and I didn't want to do the traditional, doweling and that sort of thing because it's very, very difficult to be precise with doweling. And I thought, wow, what a great idea. What if we just drilled a hole and use these new structural screws? Now these bad boys here are, I think they're the Headlock program. Timberlock, yeah. These black screws here are Timberlock screws, and they're actually been engineered and designed to be the same strength as a 3/8 galvanized bolt. Well, that's really strong. We use that for structural lumber when we're building decks. So if I can get a couple of these into this, right into the framework of the wall, I'm confident that this is going to hold the shelf up, because let's be honest here, when you're installing kitchen cabinets, you're going to get 4 little screws that are holding up the weight of all of that cabinet and all your dishes. So all the decorative shelf like this needs maybe 100 or 200 pounds. These bad boys are rated for 1,000 pounds each. So if you have a climber in your family, and you can be confident they're not going to fall off with the shelf. The funny thing is here, Max came into the room and he goes, "Oh, you have a blueprint." And great joke, by the way, but what I did is I just taped out, just visually, so I could see what the finished hood fan and shelves would look like. And I've just kind of scaled things back until I like it aesthetically. Now, this tape is based on a laser level line that we put on there. So we're gonna have a couple of different dimensions, and this gives me the ability to mark my studs on the tape, put down my numbers, and keep all of my math on that wall without affecting the tile. So the basic tools that we need for this job is, like you can expect, we need the Timberlock screws. We're of course gonna need some plastic wood. I like using this stuff because it dries quick and I can get onto my sanding right away. You need a black marker. Of course, they sell these at the building store by Milwaukee. And you're gonna need one of these. Now, this isn't necessarily available in your building stores. You might have to do a little hunting. Go to a tile supply store. Most of these places sell stuff like this. This bit is actually $85, that's top of the line. There are other options available in the $30 range. And if your tile is ceramic, it'll do just fine. I bought this one because I use this for going through ceramic and porcelain when I'm doing my shower fixtures. Of course, we're gonna need a drill, impact driver to put in the screws, and for this bit, just a regular VSR drill. And I'll take it off hammer function so I don't drive everybody crazy. Now, I've already checked before I built the wall and I took the cover plate off, and the framing for this wall is right beside, on the right side of this plate. And I know that my center mark is actually just to the right of the plate cover, which is right here. So I can use that as my mark, knowing that that's where my framing is. And then I can measure off my 16s for the frame on this wall, because that is the way we frame walls in North America. Every 16 inches, all right? I'm gonna use a black marker on the tape to mark the center of the stud. And then I'm going to mark from the wall to the line, and I'm gonna put my measurements on here. So I got a 7, and of course, plus 16 is 23. From there, I've taken my slab with the pre-drilled holes, and I've already cut this one down. But what I did is I just marked the center line here, and I measured back 7 inches, made a mark, and cut the slab. And there's my 23, and there's my finish mark. I want to come to 39 just right here, like the tape shows. So now that I've got it all laid out, and I can put it up here and confirm that I'm lined up, I like that. I've got to drill holes. Now, let's just take a quick look at what it looks like when this comes through the other side of the wood, so we have an idea where the pocket screw is going to come out. Right smack dab in the middle. That is awesome. So because you want a clean line when you're finished, which is why I tiled it first, I actually want my bottom edge of the wood to just be touching the top of this tile. Okay? So let's translate that information. 2-inch piece of wood. From the bottom of that tile, it goes just to the top of the tape. So what I want to do is I want to mark my center line. Okay? So 1 inch off that tile, that's my center line. And the reason I want to do that is I don't want to have a gap appearing here where it's tile and then grout and then tile and then grout, because the wood isn't necessarily going to be perfectly straight. So we'll drop it down just a hair. And so then we're going to want that to be the center of our hole. Take another 1/8 off for good measure. Now, this particular hole saw has a pilot drill bit as well. So what I can do is I can just line that up on my tape mark and then start drilling through. And you'll see that it was a little wobbly after the pilot drill hole started, but that's the point of this tip. This pilot hole keeps your drill bit from rocking around too wild. And so once I get these holes started, then I'll take out my pilot hole and then I'll drill all the way through. This bit comes with an Allen key that I can use to reverse my set screw and pull out my starter. Now we'll just finish off these holes. Yep, there's definitely wood in there. Make sure you clean this out as you go. Once it gets jammed up, it's really hard to clean out. I like to just do a little rocking motion as I'm drilling. That really reduces the amount of contact that I have with the bit so it doesn't overheat. So now we're done with this tape. You can see following that procedure, you won't crack your grout lines or anything. It's not about speed and pressure here, it's just about letting the bit do the job, and you'll walk away from that unscathed. So I'm going to set up my laser across the room and just drop that laser line down until it's just on the top of that tile. In case you're wondering, the outside corner beads of this wall were done with a metal corner bead, and that laser has a magnetic lock on the back, so I can put that on any corner in the house as long as it's got a metal corner bead. And it just sticks there on the wall by itself and won't even scratch the paint. So I'm choosing to install it with these pocket hole screws up, because once this is installed, most people aren't going to see the top of the shelf, they're only going to see the bottom. All right? And so I want to make sure that this is going to be out of the line of sight. Now, we get to do a little bit of trial and error here. And I'm thinking, I want to just get my wood underneath my screw. I'll start here, right on that laser line. Okay, and then drive my bit home. There we go. We just threw on our bit extender here. We'll drive it all the way in. So just because you got a great idea doesn't mean it's always going to work. This screw actually hit our stud just a little off center, and as it was driving through, the wood split and the big chunk tore off. So our screw is now just spinning on the wall. So what I have to do now is, because I'm going to be using wood filler and sanding anyway, I don't have a choice but to line up my hole and drive a new screw through that wall on the angle to hit the far side of the stud and give it a little bit of a lift because it pulled off level. Okay, back to level. So for the purpose of the video, I'll explain the last couple of steps, but I'm sure anybody willing to tackle this kind of a project at home is probably more than capable of finishing their wood. But really, all it comes down to is mixing up a little bit of your plastic wood here. This stuff is really amazing because it doesn't shrink. And it smells awesome. All right. And of course, we're just going to put that in and press it in. We don't have a lot of residue because although it's sandable, anyone who's ever worked with this stuff before knows that it's not that sandable. It'll give you a bit of a fight. We'll let that set up a little bit and then we'll come back and fill it up some more later. So there you go. Not going to waste all your time sanding and finishing the wood. We're just going to use a straight up Varathane finish on this, which will be really easy to maintain and it'll keep the dust from collecting. If you want to see how this looks when it's all done, check out the video links at the end of this video because we're going to have the reveal for the whole project. You'll see the kitchen, the custom-made hood fan, all those elements. Make sure if you haven't, check out the concrete countertop video. It's very cool. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I would like everybody to hit the like button on this video because this is a great project for anybody to do at home.